legs pushing up on the ceiling. Feel the high that you get from the light. If you feel it way down in the sky.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Afternoon FM.
Today, I am joined by Stevenson of Puzzlemaster. Thank you for joining me, Stevenson.
Of course, pleasure to be here.
This man, I want to give you your flowers early on, bro. This man came from Fractal, or a referral from Fractal?
Referral from Fractal, yeah.
And honestly, just came in, saw the spot, and like just snapped, bro. Like you fucking like did the thing, and then, like, yeah, bro. I want to give you like your kudos and your flowers like really early on, because like it was like it's weird because like you see the social like aspect to it, and you see how like everybody starts to like you went in as a beacon, bro, and it was really inspiring. It was really cool, like, too, like, it's like, because you're like, you had like this perspective of like removal, and you just like straight up improved like everything, like just off of your own like experience too. It was really
I appreciate
cool.
that.
No, and everybody appreciates you for the effort, bro. Like, I just wanted to give you your flowers early on, but we're gonna go on this episode of Afternoon FM. We're gonna go in a little bit of Stevenson's life, his trials, his tribulations, his interests, and his bro.
Yeah, sure.
So, man, tell me a little bit about your early life. Like, where are you from?
Where I'm from is a tricky question. So, I guess technically, I'm from Monterey, California.
Okay.
My family moved pretty often. My dad was on the original team that brought PlayStation to the U.S.
Really?
Yep, he was on the original team of 13. He was in charge of sales.
Are you a PlayStation kid? Are you
technically?
By default, or no?
Technically, yes, because our household got a free copy of every single thing that they released. So
what is your favorite PlayStation title?
So fun fact about that is that we actually own every single title from 1994 to 1996.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 96 to 98. And the thing is that for the longest time, I did not even play any of them because they were like in these big CD packs that were just stored away with the other CDs until eventually, like, a random friend came over at one point and was like, "Dude, do you know what you have?" And I was like, "Yeah, a bunch of CDs. Why?" No, you don't understand. And proceeded to show that, like, these are actually all games that you could play. Because my dad didn't talk at all about, like, all the stuff that he did.
Yeah. He was, like, secretive about working in the PlayStation?
Not at all secretive. I think it was more of a thing where it's like he had sort of a good delineation between, like, what work was and what family was, and he sort of like saw them as sort of different bubbles.
Yeah.
Even today, he doesn't really talk very much about what he did there, and I think it's because it was a lot of things that was a lot of high stress for things, and he didn't really like to relive it very much. But he was on some of the pretty high levels in various CD manufacturing plants.
Huh.
So he'd go work at a plant for a while, and then after a while, Sony corporate would be like, "Okay, you guys need to move to a new plant somewhere else." So this turned into like moving every 2 years or so.
Okay.
So, yeah, we actually moved from Monterey to New Jersey. And
what part of New Jersey?
Yeah, I was afraid you'd ask that. I was 2 when we were here, so I don't exactly fully remember.
Right.
But I definitely not super far from around here. Close enough that parents knew where Patterson was.
Oh, okay. What was your parents' reaction when you were like, "Yeah, I'm staying in Patterson"?
They were like, "Oh, that's all right."
Good luck.
Best, yeah.
There's the perception of Patterson in the '90s. A little bit. It still exists, but it
was fine. They weren't like, "Oh, we will do."
It's not Camden.
Yeah, they were not like, "Oh, we will mourn the loss of our child because they are not long for this world."
Nah, it's weird, man. The change in Patterson has been nuts, man. It's been like I was a kid. I used to be a little scared of the spot too. I used to be like, oh wow, they're gonna like fuck me up, and it's not even like that. It's just a weird vibe. But everybody's really cool as long as you're very like welcoming to it.
It's a weird kind of a mix because like as I've been literally just walking from like the bus station to Prototype and back again, it's been a weird kind of a mix because I've had like drive-by compliments for things that I'm wearing, but then also like people
Give me
screaming
an example of these drive-by compliments. That's awesome.
Yeah, like
That's awesome.
yeah, I was walking with a friend, and we were wearing pretty nice clothing that I got from a good friend in Denver, and just more than one person would like roll down the window, and be like, "You guys look awesome," and then just continue driving.
Word.
And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But then at the same time, people screaming at us randomly, or like my friend likes taking pictures, and when they took a picture of clearly not them, like just something else entirely, like a ceiling of something else, like screamed to them, "Don't take any pictures!"
Yeah,
sort of a thing, and like a lot of people giving us the stink eye from walking around.
I had that happen for the second time, and it's weird because I take pictures of everybody in the city. That's like it's like my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just try to take pictures of people in their natural states.
Yeah.
And this is the second time I got caught, like in 3 years. And before that, I was in LA. In LA, I didn't really ever get caught. But the first one was a mattress owner on like Market Street. The second one, I actually put it in the Discord Arts Share. Shout out to you again, bro. You managed to port everybody over to Discord, and everybody's anxiety is a little bit lower.
Honestly,
this is half of Flowers' episode of how fucking awesome Stevenson is. He's like, he made a lot of changes, like, for the better.
I like helping people.
You can tell, bro. You're fucking awesome. But I shared that one photo of the kid on the bicycle in the art share. And then, so, like, right after that, I was feeling myself. I knew what I got. I was like, oh, I got some heat right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking by, and then these two little hoodlum kids, like, smoking a blunt. So I love the Apple Air Max headphones because like I can like fumble around with them and pretend I'm like, I'm like looking for a song
or on a call or something.
Yeah. So I go and I have my camera app and I'm walking like this and I snap like 2 pictures like this to like raise the volume. And these 2 kids get up and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck? Yo, did you just take pictures of us? Just record us?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm changing the song. What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I like go and I have like YouTube music like pulled up. I'm like, it's weird. So it's
smooth.
Dangerous.
Smooth.
Dangerous. But it worked twice. But the first one was the mattress guy. And like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna fight you? What are they gonna be like? "Yo, nah, check your recent apps." I'm like, yeah, bro. I use the fucking camera. It's the most used app on the fucking iPhone.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it's like that I've never seen that kind of defensiveness.
I don't know. You know what it is? Maybe some people are fucking. I don't know. I get a little defensive sometimes, and it's weird because I feel like it's a little hypocritical.
Well, if you think you're doing something wrong,
I don't feel like I'm doing something wrong. I just hate my image on
well, no, I mean,
camera.
if someone's like taking a picture of you and you're afraid and you're doing like something that you think you might get caught for.
Maybe, yeah. I think those kids were smoking a blunt and they got like paranoid. Like, oh,
marijuana's not legal here, right?
Weed isn't even illegal. They're just fucking kids that want to be aggressive, bro. Or like one guy was just like. The first guy was defensive for no fucking reason, but like, I don't know. It was a beautiful photo. The first one was a beautiful photo. The kids fucking suck. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off track, but yeah.
No, you're good.
No.
Isn't that kind of the point?
But yeah, so how's your experience been outside of it? It's just been like, it's been mostly Prototype though.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like my experience sort of like being outside of Prototype?
Just in general, just being in Patterson.
Oh, being in Patterson overall. Yeah, no, it's. I definitely think that like Patterson's. I can feel a lot of potential in it. I can feel a lot of like some potential energy to it. It's definitely been like. Prototype is a really cool place. Like it's got an amazing sort of vibe to it. But as far as walking around, I've really not. I have not been encouraged to head outside of it very often, with the exception of like excursions to the city or something.
Yeah, fair enough. It's weird, man. There are certain hot spots in the city, like South Patterson's really, really nice. East Side's kind of it gets its like moments, but like surrounding areas like meh. But like I like downtown. I like downtown because I like the feeling of like it's like I'm in the city and like it's like a very like it's like a rush. And then but like the outskirts are like it's very residential outside of downtown, and South Patterson just has like a very ethnic spot, and so does downtown with the Peruvians. The Peruvians, the Dominicans, and the Arabs, man, are like they have like so much of like they have like there's certain spots. So when you hit the street, it's you're like kind of in like a different world a little bit. Like I mean, like Los Immortales is like if you want to get like it's like going to Mitsuya. I think that's what it's called. Mitsuya is the spot in Edgewater. That's a Japanese market. Okay. You haven't been in New Jersey that long. Okay, we gotta go back to this man's early life. So
I was gonna say, broski. I've been as an adult in this entire part of the country for a grand total of like a month and 2 weeks.
Going back, man. So you're here at 2, and your dad was working for the PlayStation factory.
And then we just and then we proceeded to move to Terre Haute, Indiana, which is the second biggest city in Indiana.
Word. Was Fort Wayne the first one?
Indianapolis.
Okay. Fort Wayne's got to be up there, though.
Fort Wayne is like somewhere. It's here's the thing. All right, you have Indianapolis is where everybody is.
Okay.
Then you've got Terre Haute, which is where everybody who doesn't like Indianapolis is. And then you've got like Bloomington, which is a surprisingly nice suburb of Indianapolis.
So Indianapolis is just the hub of Indiana.
Yeah, and then everywhere else in Indiana, which is on the exact same level, which is basically like corn.
It's just corn.
Yeah, there's a funny thing is that there are like 2 theme parks in Indiana.
Yeah,
and one of them is Indiana Dunes. Their theme, their motto is "There's more than corn in Indiana," as if to imply that everybody thinks there's just corn in Indiana because there kind of only is.
It's like your Idaho potato.
Yeah. More or less. It's a really big agricultural sort of area, and it's flat everywhere. It is lovely, especially come the like fall and winter. You get the Golden Falls.
Golden Falls,
as in the fall. The fall turns everything
like
golden.
How everything is fucking.
Yeah, the leaves change.
It's got to be beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really, really nice. I had some Calvin and Hobbes style falls and winters around there.
Word.
From there, moved to Oregon. And then stayed there for a while, and then from there back to Terre Haute again, and then from there to North Carolina, where I got stuck in
Patterson, New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah. Sometimes I really wish that road torpedoes were a thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, where I got stuck there for 7 years in Earl, North Carolina.
Do you like it? Was this like Gandhi's prison?
I have a low opinion of Earl, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I am confident in saying that in public because nobody here will have ever heard of Earl, North Carolina. Because Earl is a small town that no one's ever heard of outside of Shelby, North Carolina.
Okay.
Shelby.
Which I didn't even know there was a Shelby, North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. People in Shelby have never heard of Earl. And Shelby is kind of sort of close to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is the second biggest city in North Carolina. Is it the biggest? Yeah, it's the biggest, but not the capital.
Okay. What are your interests during these times? Like, what are you getting into?
I'm sorry?
What are you getting into at these times? Like when you're like,
well, at that,
you have like kind of like the life of like a military brat, but like you're like a Sony brat.
Yeah, basically. So, around the time that I was in North Carolina, I was very much. So my lifetime goal and ambition has basically never changed since I was 12 years old.
Okay.
And that is to own a theme park.
Okay. Is this still a current goal?
Yes.
All right, word, bro.
Or at least something very close to a theme park, or spiritually equivalent to a theme park.
I'm assuming this is the road to escape rooms.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
A lot of people will talk about like, oh, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a firefighter, and then I realized that like actually the pay is kind of garbage. Or I wanted to be an astronaut, and then I realized that like U.S. isn't sending people to space anymore. Or so on and so on. When I was very young, realized that I wanted to own a theme park. I still want to own a theme park.
What parts of a theme park? Like I know there's like design escape rooms, but like what made you really want to go down that route? Was it like you were just on Nitro one day and was like, yo, this is like
I played way too much Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Okay, all right, fair. That's awesome.
I played that. I found that game when I was like 7, 8 years old, and it was like, this is my shit.
Yeah.
So hard. From that point on, I never had to be taught like how to work with money. I never have to worry about like digital money. The numbers on the screen matter because if the numbers go to 0, I can't build a roller coaster anymore.
Yeah.
And so like that was the whole sort of through line for the whole thing. And then when I was like, I think it actually was when I was 7 years old, I went to the other theme park in Indiana, which is called Holiday World and Splash and Safari. And it's this little family-owned theme park, and somehow still family-owned. It's one of the very few independent theme parks that still exist on their own. And they are in a place called Santa Claus, Indiana. And it turns out there was actually a shtick that theme parks had in like the middle of the 20th century, in which they would be like, this is where Christmas happens, sort of place. And Christmas theme parks, they were a thing. There were like 20 of them. It's very strange. But there's a whole town that committed to the bit.
Really?
And in fact, they have a thing where if a child writes to Santa Claus, North Pole, and puts it into the mailbox, it'll go to Santa Claus, Indiana, where a team of elderly volunteers will open the envelope, read it, and if there's a return address, send back a reply.
Damn.
And in fact, if they can figure it out, they will also send a separate letter to the parents telling the kids what they want.
Oh, that's an insane service.
And the idea, and in fact, if the child forgets to put postage on it, they've made a deal with the U.S. Post Office that they'll pay for the postage. The reason for it is because that means that then it's for the tourism industry.
Yeah.
The idea being is that the parents are so enamored with this that they'll be like, all right, let's go meet Santa Claus
in Indiana.
In Santa Claus, Indiana.
That is a very elaborate click funnel.
Yeah, but it works.
No, I'm just saying it works though. It works like everybody is committing to the bit.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a whole town that is built like a German Hamlet sort of a thing. And it's like it's Christmas all year round kind of a thing.
Holy shit.
They have a theme park there called Holiday World and Splash and Safari.
And it's open all year, or is it only open on Christmas?
So, much to my annoyance, and frankly, very disappointingly, snow closes it at the end of the season in October. So it's like they're not even open during Christmas.
It doesn't make any sense.
I agree, but you know what? But at the end of the day, they are just a theme park. Theme park is kind of the thing, and nobody goes to a theme park in like December. But unless they're in Florida, in which case, hi Mickey, how you doing?
Yeah.
But no. See, here's the thing, right? Is that they? I was walking around Holiday World, and it was, and I actually met the actual owner of the theme park, Her name was Pat Koch. And she's just this elderly woman, like she was like a grandma, basically walking around. And I knew she was the owner because I'd already researched the company at the time. It's a family-owned company. She's the owner. She's the matriarch.
So you would you describe yourself as like a connoisseur of like theme parks? So you go and you're like, you seek out the theme parks to go and like scout.
Sort
like,
of.
This is like your art.
It's more the case that I can't ever turn off. Like if you ever bring me to any sort of like escape room or theme park or anything, I will start.
You start looking at it in a technical point
I will
of view.
reflexively start verbalizing my opinions on their construction.
Shout out to Roller Coaster Tycoon, you legend of the goddamn game. You
Yeah.
know what you bird.
It's
so great.
Because the whole time I was like, okay, I recognize this, I recognize that. Oh, they built it like this because this way would be way too expensive otherwise, sort of a thing. And so when I met Pat Koch, and I was like, wait, you're the owner? And it's like, yes, I am. And I was like, oh, okay. At that point, that did something very important to me. It showed me that person who owns a theme park is a real job that can exist somewhere. And that was the thing that made me go like, that's a pretty good thing. And then 5 years later, when I was when you're like in your preteens and no one shuts up to you about asking, what are you gonna do when you grow up? What are you gonna do when you grow up? And it's like, maybe fuck you. Did you ever think about that?
Fuck you, I'm gonna be a theme park owner.
And yeah, that's exactly what I was going to. It's like, that's a real job. I'm going to make that my job. I'm going to do that. And no one's going to stop me.
And this is like 13.
When I was 14 years old, I dressed up in a suit and briefcase, went to the local mall in order to try to look into leasing options for building an arcade in one of the dead spots of the mall. And I got in.
That's my boy.
I got in. There was a very bewildered real estate agent who was like, I mean, I'm not going to say no to a potential weird sale, so okay, I guess.
So you had an arcade when you were 14?
I tried. The bank was like, go fuck yourself.
Yo, you know what it reminded me of? You ever see The Little Rascals?
I've not.
All right. Yes.
I dumped all of my culture points into games at the expense of all TV, all movies.
I forgot about this conversation. Stevenson has never seen Back to the Future. Or like a lot of reference points, man. You were like,
dear listener, think of your favorite movie. I haven't seen it. And so now feel free to gasp audibly.
Imagine there's like a two-way communication. You were like out of the mic. Soon.
Suddenly there's a giant disturbance in the nerds. And it's not because I hate them or anything along those lines, but
you're a focused man, bro.
I don't do passive entertainment very often. And it's not because I hate it. It's literally just because I'm never not working. Because if my work is going properly, it's fun.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. My shit was like, I got really moved by a film, and I was like, this is totally gonna be like a lifestyle that I'm gonna like, kind of like seeing. I was a photographer and a musician, and I saw Barry Lyndon, and it kind of was like that, like, oh, this is like a real job, and I'm like, oh, like I don't have to sacrifice anything to be an artist. It's like, it's learning more things and not having to be like, I'm in this, like, my thing was like, I didn't want to be so like I am this thing. You know what I mean? I wanted like everything I learned, like I really liked learning. So like learning about film and learning about photography was like, it was like filmmaking was like, oh, this is everything, dude. Like I found out that movies were just photography when I was like 21, bro. Yeah. And I was a photographer at the time. I was like, oh, I was doing stills and like, just seeing it, man, and the difference between
it's 24 pictures a second.
Yeah, but I wasn't really aware of it. I was like, oh, this is just like television, or this is just movies. It was just a whole totally different thing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. So, So what are your steps after leasing this arcade?
At as clarification, I never got to lease the arcade because while I did build a solid business plan and put it all together, for some reason the bank wasn't interested in giving a $60,000 loan to a 14-year-old. And for the record, the bank has never given me a loan since, so still fuck them. But no, that venture didn't really go anywhere because I was in Shelby, North Carolina, is the main sort of area I was. The appetite for local entertainment was dead. Closest you could get was basically like one paintball place was kind of all the entertainment that entire town could support. But I was able to, as a bit of a bright spot, I never really got along really well with anybody in school, in general, partially because I was diagnosed with Asperger's, but mostly because I could jump around a lot, and also because the feeling was mutual. I wasn't very interested in them either. And so what I wound up doing was that I was lucky enough to discover a loophole in the North Carolina educational system that allowed me to skip high school and go straight to college. So I went through 9th grade in regular high school, but then I discovered that if you claim yourself as a homeschool student, you can do dual enrollment, and that means that you can go to high school and college at the same time. But if your high school happens to be homeschool, then you can just go to college the whole time, all while making full credits.
Okay, all right, man beat the game.
So basically, I went to college, community college, at 10th grade, and didn't do 11th or 12th.
What?
I skipped 10th, 11th, and 12th grade by just going to college instead.
Damn.
And so I was sitting down at the college and be like, all right, so what classes do I need to take? And no one answered me. And I was like, wait, is no one watching me?
Yeah.
Can I take whatever I want?
Yeah.
Oh shit, no one's stopping me. All right, fuck, let's go.
Yeah.
And so I proceeded to take welding, chemistry, biology, filmmaking, radio producing, sociology, and especially the audit of welding was very helpful too. Electrical engineering, like a laundry list of things, because since I was a dual enrollment thing and I was being subsidized, I got to pay basically nothing for all of it. And so
that's fucking great, dude.
I actually have 2 degrees worth of credit hours and no degree.
Do you feel like community, like, it's weird, I don't have a degree either. I was talking about this last night. I've been to school like 4 fucking times, and like I major in something different every single time I go. And I don't know. I'm like, there's the fucking like, all right, I want my bachelor's and go get my master's, and there's like that whole thing, and it's like I don't feel like I learn shit if I just don't apply it after 2 years, or or like a year and a half. Like, it's like, if I'm not gonna, like, I still keep the concepts of it, because the basics concepts just like help you in like your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like,
and that's the main thing, really.
Yeah, I don't really like. I'm not gonna be like, well, dude, you have to get a thesis.
Well, you can look it up later on.
I feel like that's just personal training.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely of the opinion. So like my my parents both have advanced degrees, and they've been incredibly supportive of all the stuff that I've been doing, and especially after the 2008 recession and job. And getting a job was really difficult, and everything just sort of like hit the fan, total shitter sort of a thing.
How old were you during the recession?
Oh God!
You,
so
like
2008, 2008,
How old are you?
2008. That would have been, I think I was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15, 16, 17, thereabouts. I was in college at that point. I had.
That's so crazy, bro.
I graduated to UNC Charlotte, basically, You're like, congratulations, you made it in. And it's like, you let anybody in with a pulse. Like, I'm not impressed.
Yeah. And that's a community college.
No, that was a university.
Oh, okay.
The University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Go financially responsible college.
So 14, damn, 16. You're in like a full-fledged university.
Yeah,
bro, you're fucking.
And so like I'm there for a while. I declare a major in computer science because UNC Charlotte was one of only 2 colleges in the entire state that had a game design course. At this point in time, I was like, I'm going to get into video game design.
Okay.
I'm gonna do like video game stuff, and then I learned This is during the Indiepocalypse. Which
like during like. Give me some games like Limbo. Limbo maybe could
that
be
was
one
the
of them.
indie boom.
Okay.
That's what heralded the beginnings of the Indiepocalypse.
Okay.
The Indiepocalypse was when all of a sudden everyone was like, "Oh wait, hang on, the indie boom's a bust," because Steam had green light happen, which basically meant that like anybody can get on, which meant that everybody got on.
Okay.
And so they called it the quote unquote Indiepocalypse because the actual revenue that each individual game was getting was tanking like crazy. Now, in retrospect, my concern about jumping into the market at that point in time was unfounded. It's actually way, way harder now because since it's been so heavily democratized, good thing. It means that if you want to succeed as a game designer creator, that's rough. So I was in game design in that college, and then the university just unceremoniously ended my major halfway through it. Being like, okay, so listen, the only 2 people that teach this got hired by a game company, so get fucked.
Shout out to UNC Charlotte.
And it's like, okay, so then what do I do now? Well, we've got this amazing new career lined up in computer security.
Okay.
Oh, security. Great, I love cybersecurity. Yeah, you can work for Bank of America.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, no, you see, almost all of our graduates wind up going to the banking triangle, which is these 3 banks that hang out in Raleigh, North Carolina, one of which, and the main one that's hiring here is Bank of America. So you can go work for Bank of America. Oh, yay. I hate Bank of America and everything they stand for.
That's fucked
Can we
up,
do anything else? I mean, no. Oh, great. Meanwhile, all this is happening. I am watching this tiny little reviewer site called Shut Up and Sit Down. Nowadays, they are probably by gross amount of revenue going into them and also people watching them, the most popular board game reviewers in the world. They have surpassed Dice Tower, I think, like a couple of years ago. But like their conventions are huge. They do huge stuff. They're very well known. At the time, they were basically nobody. But I was watching them pretty closely. I liked them a lot. And they put out, and they normally do video reviews, and then they put out text reviews of things they don't think aren't very important or very interesting. And they put out a text review on their website about this thing called an escape room in 2013. And it was this sort of big thing, and the reviewer said, yeah, this is garbage. It's the stupidest thing I've ever done. And I was like, sold. And I dropped out of college, moved to San Diego for the explicit purpose of opening an escape room. And then I proceeded to work my ass off, and then in October of 2014, I opened the first escape room in San Diego, and somewhere between the 18th to the 26th escape room in the United States.
Really? How did you find out about like the community of escape rooms? Like, is it like what is that like? What is the
There's
scene?
no
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask like what makes a good game. Well, as
I was going to say,
as a
I'd be happy to
prelude
talk
to
about.
escape room.
I'd be happy to talk about that, but that is a whole separate topic.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm like, I was gonna ask. I'm like, what makes like a great game? And I was like, as a game designer,
do you want me to get into that, or do you want to talk about escape rooms?
I still want to talk about escape rooms, but I really want. I'm gonna get back to that question.
All right.
I want to hear that.
Yeah. So
from your perspective, because I feel like you're a great artist of like game. Like you're a very complex thinker.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
It's you're like. I feel like you have all the steps like logistically planned before you do, but like you're on point, bro.
Yeah, so like in regards to the community of escape rooms, there was literally none when I started because I was the first, at least in my city, and frankly in that entire half of California.
Monopoly, bro.
Yeah, so basically what wound up happening was that I knew this was a thing. I at the time I was convinced it was going to be a fad, actually, and since it's a fad, it means you got to move fast. First in, first out. That's how you win on a fad. And so because I had an idea sort of kind of like this. Do you remember I Spy, the I Spy books?
Yes, I do.
So there was a computer game called I Spy Spooky Mansion, based off the book of the same name.
I remember this, and it was weird because I feel like I picked one up in the Scholastic Book Fair. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm wrong with that.
No, that almost certainly. They were big with Scholastic.
Okay, cool. All right, word.
And
I loved those books when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that was a great book.
The computer games were sick too. Actually, they were as good as the books.
Word.
And I remember playing.
That's a nostalgia piece that I fucking totally
I
flaked on that, man. That's crazy.
And the thing is that like I Spy Spooky Mansion specifically was cool because you went in and then the game locked you in the mansion, and you had to solve I Spy riddles in order to get out of the mansion. Mind you, from like a theme perspective, the way you get out is questionable. Up the chimney as a ghost? Question mark. But anyways. But the thing with it was I was thinking like, man, that'd be sick to do in real life. But like, how does that work exactly? Because if you can't pitch something, you can't make it exist. From a sustainable artistry perspective, if you cannot easily pitch something, you can't have it.
This is true. This is the most, honestly, bro, it's weird. Because when I was in screenwriting class and shit, one of the biggest things they tell you is the log line. Like, you have to have an elevator pitch of your idea. Yeah. And, I was like, oh, but it's so much more than that. I was like, really
It's so much more than that. Great. All right, that's built into a good idea.
Dude, people are sending me scripts now, and I'm like, dude, if you don't have like a good log line, I'm like, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I would love to give you the time, but I don't have the time. And even if I do have the time, it's really hard to give you the time.
Yeah, it can, because the reality is that if you do have the time, that time is going to be better spent somewhere else.
Word.
And so the thing is, if you have a thing that has a lot more to it, great, but you better have a good like line to go with it.
You have to definitely hook people within the first like pitch. But continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. Is that like, because the thing is like, hey, do you want to come to my facility or wherever it is, play an I Spy riddle? Question mark? Maybe. I possibly. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then, like, once you've found all the things, which how do I make sure you found them all?
Yeah.
You get to do another one, go deeper into a mansion. Like, that's not a terrible idea. I could maybe find a way of making that work, but it's not a strong pitch. And then I heard about escape rooms, which is literally like very similar vein, but then it's like, all right, you're locked in a room for 1 hour. Find out a way to get out. Go. Oh shit, that's totally different because now the pitch is so snappy. It's like, well, what I do in the room? You try to find a way out. Yeah. Well, yeah, but like, why do I want to find a way out? Do you want to be in here forever?
You've added stakes. So
no, not really. Okay, all right, yeah. You're invested because it's a false sense of danger. It's the sort of it's like the haunted house scare sort of a thing where it's like people are a little bit sort of speak like ooh, like no one thinks you're really gonna get murdered when you're in there, but like it's a sort of excitement to like, yeah, but I can trick myself into thinking that I am gonna be.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks
the scenery. It's like, it's weird. There's a lot of sense of storytelling in all of this.
Exactly.
Crazy, bro.
And so when you walk into a room and then you hear the bam of the door behind you and then the sound of a lock being turned, it's like, well, we're not really trapped in here, but like, boy, this sure feels like we are.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's like, okay, we've got to use our wits to find a way to get out. And here's the genius part about it. That simple pitch hooks you, and it buys you more time to get more complicated stuff to work in it. And that's a really important aspect of sales and marketing in general, is that for each thing that you do, it buys you an additional handful of seconds to do more things. So, like, when you, like, for example, that line, that you said it was a hook line, a log line? Log line. So the log line is not to make you really want to read the whole story.
Yeah.
The job of it...
to hook you.
Yeah, well, the job of it is to buy you 45 seconds of attention, so that with those 45 seconds you can see if you should go deeper. And then that 45 seconds job is to hook you again for a longer pull, until eventually you're like, okay, I'm willing to sit down and read a book about this, because I've been so well hooked by this and I'm really interested in seeing where it goes. Same thing for escape rooms. You walk into them and it's like, all right, so what's the objective? Get out. Bam! The door closes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what are we doing now that we're here? Well, hey, this drawer like pushes into the wall? Question mark? What's going on with that? Well, now you want to know why that is, and then from there it like hooks more and more and deeper until eventually late in the game you are trying to choose between 15 different options, doing long division to try to like solve this this problem, these series of things, so that you can get out before the buzzer goes off. At least in a simple escape room. Some of my more complicated ones have like a lot more mechanics in them.
That's like give me some of the mechanics that would work within this thing. Like you said, where like a drawer was like pushing inward rather than outward. Like that's like
right. Yeah, I make puzzle
like
furniture too.
It like reveals shit. So it's like so how do you? What gives you the inspiration to like? Is it like a sense of surrealism where it's like, you know, like that's like a surrealist object of like pushing a fucking drawer in? Like, do you get like inspired by art, or are you just freestyling? Like you get like this section of the escape room, and how does this really work in layout? Like it's like we're coming in here and it's just a kind of like a walkthrough experience.
So, multiple questions in that. To start with, in terms of like how I actually make things. Generally speaking, I start with a bunch of pieces and parts. I will make modules and parts that like this takes in a lock, and then it will give out a key. Now, it can be a literal lock and key, but a key can be a lot more than just like a thing that's like a piece of metal. A key can be, for example, a string of words and numbers. It can be a tool that you need in order to pull something out. A key can be a magnet that you use to reach behind something and pull up something else. A key is any object that you can use to unlock a lock. And a lock can be a literal lock, but it can also be a number lock. It can be a weird mechanism that requires a ball inside of it that can like that you like hit a lever and it zips it up to activate something. And so what I do is I make keys and locks. And then I will we're making a traditional linear escape room anyways. The process is different for non-linear escape rooms and immersions, that is, room experiences. But if you're making a traditional linear escape room, a Generation 1 or 2 escape room, you can... I personally get a bunch of those locks and keys, and then I weave them together in the way that makes the most sense. I generally, my style of escape room is to have a small number of very difficult puzzles, as opposed to most escape rooms, which has a large number of very easy things to do, but there's so much of it to do that you've got to move very quickly if you want to get out of the room. I love to have like fast punch where it's like, oh my gosh, this is opening and now we got but this and that, and now we're stuck at this. we know we've got all the parts for it, but we're too stupid to figure it out. Just smash your head against it for long enough, and then eventually you may need to ask for a hint or something in order to get past it. You never need a hint for my stuff, but but I like to have those things where it's like someone has a flash of insight, and then it's like, okay, now we get to keep moving again, sort of a thing. And then I usually space it out where we have things to do mixed with a stumper. And I usually have like 5 or so stumpers in a 1-hour escape room. My puzzles usually are around 65 to 85 steps to get out of the room.
Do you edit a lot? I'm just wondering, like during an escape room, I'm sure there's like somebody who just like supervises the people as they go along the maze. It's like this weird.
Yeah, my rooms are always hosted.
So what does that mean?
There's an trained actor that's in the room with you.
Oh, okay.
And more often than not, that was me, actually.
Okay.
I actually spent the entire first half of my 20s sitting in the corner of an 8-foot by 10-foot room. And I mean all of them in terms of like I took no days off.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
You really immerse yourself in your work, man. You're fucking like.
It was really important to like keep the bottom line going.
No, that's the path of an entrepreneur, bro. You fucking like. That's why, bro. I got insane amounts of respect for you, bro. Like just.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, seriously, just like in terms of like talent and fucking like and risk and fucking shit, I have an enormous amount of respect for you, bro. It's fucking, you're sick, dude. You're really cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Continue on. So like, you're in like an 8x10 room, like so there's trained actors that go in like if somebody's really trapped in the room or some shit, or if it's
well, we monitor the I call them Puzzlemasters. They monitor the experience of people, and they'll often give like little subtle hints, like little bits of like pushing or nudging that like we have
hey, it's over here.
Or a little laser pointer.
Okay, all right.
That sort of helps with things. But when the team as a whole decides, yes, we need a hint, then it's my job to like give you a hint that is just good enough to unstuck you, but not the answer. Because lazy escape rooms, generally what they do is they will give you a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And there'll be a guy that's watching 4 escape rooms at once, usually playing Bejeweled or something. And they'll not be paying attention.
Watching 4 escape rooms at once. So is it? Are you talking about like 4 different
over cameras?
Okay, but is it the same layout? Like rocking at the same
more
time?
often than not, it's like copies of the same escape room.
Okay.
Or they're like 4 different escape rooms, sort of thing. That's what a normal facility does.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, you gotta be approaching those shits like canvases at that point.
Right. And so the idea is that like they watch all of them, which is very economically efficient. And looking back on it, I should have done something closer to this, just because making money off of these things is really hard when you have a highly trained actor in the room at all times.
Yeah.
Per experience.
Yeah.
Financially, that was not a great idea. But
this is the roller coaster tycoon and you talking, bro.
Oh boy, you know it's
you're like, oh shit.
It's one of those things where it's like I mean, you know, I make about as much as a creative does.
Yeah. You are creative, bro.
And
that's creative
and
as that's
like
we're more creative of a path than was creative.
We're talking poverty line here, though. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Even when I was like having sales in all the time, like it was not financially super viable because I was stupid and for a long time didn't raise my prices. Should have, because the moment I did, nothing changed. Like all of that stuff was exactly the same. So I should have raised my prices way earlier. And then the second thing was that I was so heavily so exacting on training people. And then I didn't wind up paying my actors enough because I paid them roughly what I paid me, which was nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
But I should have raised prices even more and increased the amount that they take home, because they all cared deeply about what I did.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if you're not paying someone a living wage, how can you expect them to continue doing anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I should have done that, but there was not enough money in the budget at the time, and that was because I was dumb and didn't raise prices. But you know, hindsight and all that.
I mean, dude, you learn and you grow and eat with each like thing. But honestly, bro, like you paved like you paved a road like in that like market. Like you're the first escape room in San Diego. Dude.
Yeah, there were 32 before COVID closed.
What's up?
There were 32 escape rooms right before COVID made people close.
Yeah, that's just but like just going in and having the balls to like create a market, bro, is that's balls, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, serious. But like going and like assembling a team, and it's such a like with fucking like actors and shit, like you can like always pull from SAG-AFTRA, or you could pull from like different, you know what I mean, and everybody
hypothetically, if you got a budget.
Yeah, but well, you could do that, but there's also people that are just willing to like crack their neck. It's like I don't know. I feel like that like the escape room like scene. I don't know. Like but then again, it's just actor in general, right?
Well, yeah,
like, is it
primarily
like,
that. Yeah, if you're the sort of it's sort of the Sleep No More style actor more than the rather than the like regular sort of actor. Immersive entertainment.
It reminds me of like Medieval Times. A little bit,
yeah,
like that kind of guy.
Much more that kind of vibe. People that hear about the opportunity to interact with the general public and scare them and get paid for it is basically it's that kind of actor.
Okay, all right, word. I've been that actor, bro. I've been that actor before. That's it. It's cool, bro. It's just like, but just like going in and fucking making that, man, is like I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to go back, man. What actually makes a great game? Because like your time like during game designer, I feel like it trickles into this, but you like applied shit that you learned in game design. But game design is like it's more of a tech standpoint going into.
So game design is it's definitely like very close in flavors to artistic pursuits, but it's definitely like distinct from it in that it's more on the design side than the art side. And what when it comes to game design, most game designers are programmers because no one hires a game designer, but people do hire programmers. And any project that you're making that is like a video game or like along those lines, the programmer and the game designer better be the same person or close to or very very close communication.
Yeah, or it's like. There's so much lost in communication.
Well, because the thing about game design is that it's really weird in that, like, unlike a lot of other artistic pursuits, it doesn't exist until people do it. Like, you can write a screenplay, and you can like give it to actors and have them act it out and be like, oh, actually, that was kind of shit.
Yeah.
But that's not usually how that works. It's usually more like what more or less what it's going to be like, and then you make minor tweaks. As things goes on. When you're doing visual art or you're sculpting or anything along those lines, it's almost always a thing where you know what it looks like or you can see in your head how it's going to go. Game design is strange because it only exists when players play the game. If you can't play test, you don't have a game. I can guess how certain systems are going to work, but it's much harder and much more abstract to make that work properly. What makes a good game, I'm going to steal this line from Quentin Smith from Shut Up and Sit Down, but it's absolutely true. Good games are made out of interesting decisions. If your game does not have interesting decisions, it's not a good game. It doesn't matter if it's an escape room or Monopoly or Guess Who or literally any board game on the market out there, no matter what you would classify as a game, good games are made out of interesting decisions. So they might not be good decisions, they can be bad decisions. Like, for example, this horrible thing has happened. Which bad thing do you want to have happen? This awful thing or this other awful thing? Or, hey, congratulations, you did a good job. Here's a bonus. Do you wish to have this bonus box or that bonus box? Sort of a thing. If you, and the reason why this is important is because of what happens if you don't do that. Imagine, if you will, for example, we're playing let's say a resource management game, right? In which we're trying to get as many widgets as possible. Like, you want to get widgets, I want to get widgets. In the middle of the table, there's a bunch of cards, right? And I'm going to pick a card, then you're going to pick a card. So it's your turn, and there's a bunch of cards on the table. One of the cards says, if you pick this card, get 5 widgets. there's another card that says, if you pick this card, get 1 widget. And that's all the context you need to make this decision. Which card do you pick?
The one to the right.
I'm sorry?
Wait, say that one more time.
Yeah, so like a bunch of cards in the middle of the table, right? One of them says, get 5 widgets if you pick this card. The other one says, get 1 widget if you get this card. Which of the cards do you want?
The one with the 5 widgets.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
Because why on earth would you ever pick the 1 when you can pick the 5?
Yes.
If we're just getting widgets here. And that's because that felt like a decision. It wasn't a decision. That wasn't an interesting decision. And therefore, since the answer is obvious, it wasn't a decision. You pick that card, it's yours. And there we go. Now, imagine, though, instead, that we've got 2 cards. Once again, one says get 5, one says get 1, but the one that says get 5 says get 5 right now. The other one that says get 1 says get 1 for every turn for the rest of the game.
They're 1 for every turn the rest of the game.
Maybe not.
Depends on the situation.
Maybe you need a bunch of widgets right now. Maybe the game's not super long, and so you need to like puzzle out. Can you make the game last long enough to make that second card worth it? Maybe it's super early in the game, and actually the 1 every turn is absolutely the right choice. Or maybe like you need a bunch now because yeah, sure, slowly over time is great, but in the amount of time it takes for you to get all those widgets, I will have gotten those 5 widgets and used those widgets to make 17 other things. That has basically screwed you over, so that great, you get 1 per turn, but like I got to get all of my stuff now. That's an interesting decision at that point. And good games are made out of interesting decisions. Because non-interesting decisions aren't decisions. They are moving an algorithm, basically.
It's just like a stockpiling of things.
And that's one of the reasons why my escape rooms would often get better reviews than other escape rooms, is because in my rooms you can take as many hints as you want, but each hint you take costs you points.
So what do you got planned for the future, bro?
I think going forward, my escape room is closed because of COVID, and I'm looking to like reopen a facility and do something along those lines. But in the meantime, I have an interesting thought. I currently operate the biggest board game festival in all of San Diego, and I'm running a big thing for creatives actually in a couple months. But my plan is this. Until I get to the point where I've got enough resources to reopen my escape rooms and make my real-world theme park again, with escape rooms and games and such happening inside of them, I intend to have a thing where I'm thinking about making like a stable of board games. Board game publishing is brutal. Making money off of it's nearly impossible. Everyone who publishes board games has a second job, usually. But I'm working on board games that take a whole room, an escape room-sized room, and you can commission it out for your party or corporate team building or wherever it is you're going to do it. And so I'm making a stable of games that can work with that. So I have a game called The Floor is Lava, which I actually ran for 3 years as a massive installation in San Diego.
It's a classic game. It's a classic
It game. Is, but this one involves murder.
Okay.
Like real murder? Half the players are on your team, half the players are not on your team. You have to figure out who's on your team and who's lying to you before your friends decide you can't be trusted, and they shove you into an actual like lake of lava that's made out of rubber wood chips.
What's the name of that game with the stranger or the imposter?
Among Us.
Among Us, yeah.
Same family of games.
Okay, where?
Except that instead of one bad person and everybody else is good, half the players are on your team and half of them aren't.
Oh, that's crazy. So it's kind of like a Halo when you like camp or some shit. I don't know,
but you don't know who's who. And so you're on an island with somebody else. And by the way, these islands actually sink into the floor. Like these are actual this is a whole full installation game I made for 3 years in San Diego.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
You're on an island with somebody else and being like, "Hey, what team are you on?" "I don't know. What team are you on?" "Well, I'm on your team." "Yeah, sure you are, fucker. I'm coming. I'm gonna fucking push you into the lava." No, I'm on red team." "You're on red team? Are you really? You're really on red team? Really, for sure? Cool. I'm also on red team. I won't kill you." And then it's like, turns out they were lying to you the whole time. And like 2 rounds in, they hip check you into the lava out of nowhere.
Great, bro. That's so cool.
So I have games like that. that I'm going to remake into a mobile edition.
Okay.
And I'm intending to kickstart that soon, actually.
Word.
And bring that to my conventions.
Word, bro.
So we're doing that in like a stable of like 4 or 5 other games, and then I'm going to use those as a basis in order to rebuild my facilities and make my theme park real.
Word.
So yeah.
So, bro, I just want to give you your flowers one more time. I'm gonna ask you for social media, but like, dude, you're so cool. You're like a cool ass
Thank you so much,
motherfucker, bro. And like, I was like, yo, like from the first day, just going and rocking the top hat. I have a lot of questions about the top hat, but you also have like a board game party upstairs we're about to go to. But dude, I just got hours, and thank you for all you put into this place, man. And like,
of course.
And yo, you're just, and I appreciate you, man, just because like, you like take a risk, and you're an artist with like a very specific medium, and yeah, man, and it's fucking a good dude. You're a really good dude.
Stop it.
Well, where can we find you on social media?
I am everywhere at Puzzlarium. So that's PUZZALARIUM. I'm at puzzlarium.com is the best place to go, because there I have a newsletter that I actually put effort into, because social media is garbage. And newsletters no one can take away from me. So I actually put all my effort into that. And I put
it's a good medium between marketing and
anybody who is trying to make a brand. I implore you, get off of Twitter or now X. Substack is fine, but here's the thing: Substack goes away, you go away. So get the news, get the emails.
Shout out to the Twitter newsletter thing that Elon fucking took my 55 people. I miss you all.
Oh yeah, good lord. But
I never wrote a single news.
But yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm hypothetically on Threads and TikTok, but mostly I'm on YouTube at Puzzlarium.
Okay.
But the best way to know about my stuff or everything is my newsletter, which you can find at puzzlarium.com.
Stevenson, ladies and gentlemen, Afternoon FM. You stay beautiful, people. Stevenson, thank you.
Cheers.